Good evening. I'm Colonel Josh Seagraves, the Fort Belvoir Garrison Commander. I'm pleased to join you tonight as we continue to have our Fort Belvoir virtual town halls that are focused on important installation operations during the COVID-19 pandemic. I officially became the commander on August 11th, so it's been about 3 weeks. I was obviously very busy prior to my arrival and during the weeks after the change of command, getting familiar with the installations, the issues, concerns, and opportunities we have to make changes where we can and when we can, while being mindful of an acceptable level of disruption. Introduce myself, update you on Fort Belvoir's current status as we continue to operate in Health Protection Condition Bravo, and most importantly, respond to some of the questions you've shared either on our social media platforms or with members of my team since the last town hall. Our Army in this garrison has a range of platforms for the Fort Belvoir community to share ideas and concerns, and I encourage you to continue to use those. I think we have a good platform through Facebook Live, and I plan to continue hosting these town halls on a monthly basis for about 30 minutes each. While they may not be as frequent, they do provide a good opportunity to engage with our workforce, our residents, our mission partners, community stakeholders, and visitors. And that's right, a familiar face, Captain Cindy Judy, Director of the Fort Belvoir Community Hospital, joins me for this town hall, as she has since the beginning, and has continued to keep our garrison community up to date on important health and wellness information. I'm looking forward to working with you and your team.
Thanks.
So we'll go over to you for your opening remarks.
Well, thanks, sir. So, first off, we're rolling into the holiday weekend, so I just want to wish everyone a safe and happy holiday weekend this weekend. Give you a little bit of an update on the hospital, if that's okay. Really, operations there have remained unchanged in the last month, and so we still have a lot of virtual health going on, but there's also a lot of in-person patient care that's taking place in the hospital. But our visitation policy hasn't changed any. The DFAC is still open to patients and staff, but not open to everyone, because we're still trying to limit access to the hospital and keep the traffic down there so that we don't, so we can minimize exposure while we're there. But there are three things that come up a lot, three topics that I'd like to talk about for just a second. One is testing. So we continue to do patient testing for COVID at the hospital, and that's primarily symptomatic patients or somebody who may have a scheduled operation or procedure that their doctor has requested that they have a test, and so they can do that at the curbside. And then the other testing that we're doing is mission testing. So we're doing some Tier 1 testing, as well as we're doing mission-related testing, like for travel. And that would include families who are PCSing, so it's not just the active duty service member, but it would be their family if they're PCSing. Now, what's not included in the testing right now, and we get a lot of people who turn around and they leave very unhappy, is we are currently supporting vacation travel testing or some of those back-to-school requests where the school has requested a COVID test for some reason that's not related to being a symptomatic person. And for that, people can go to the Virginia Department of Health website, and they can actually enter their zip code into that website, and it will show them where the nearest testing site is for some of those non-mission and non-patient related testing. The second thing that I get asked a lot about is convalescent plasma. The Armed Services Blood Program is still looking for people who have fully recovered from COVID-19 to give convalescent plasma for seriously ill coronavirus patients. Convalescent plasma is the liquid part of blood that's collected from patients who have actually recovered from the disease. And so to be eligible to donate, you must be at least 17 years old and weigh at least 110 pounds, be in good health and feeling well, and have a prior diagnosis of COVID-19 and meet all the specific lab criteria. So we'll post the information about how to donate. Walter Reed is currently the collection site, and the phone numbers, if you're interested, if you've had COVID-19 and are interested in donating convalescent plasma, 301-295-2104. Again, that number is 301-295-2104. And then the final question that I get asked a lot about COVID-19 is, do we have a vaccine yet? And the answer to that is not yet if you're following in the media. But as you well know, there are vaccine trials that are going on throughout the nation, or they're just starting up throughout the nation. And so what I will say is that the National Capital Region is an area where they're going to be doing vaccine trials. And so here at Fort Belvoir Community Hospital, as well as at Walter Reed, we'll be conducting a vaccine trial in the very near future. So we'll put information out about that just as soon as that's available. I'd also like to mention that it is Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month. So if you wouldn't mind, I'll bring my guest up right now and we can talk a little bit. Lauralee Gatula has joined us today to talk a little bit about suicide prevention.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. I'm Lauralee Gatula. I'm one of the clinical social workers at Fort Belvoir Adult Outpatient Behavioral Health, and I've been asked to speak just briefly on suicide prevention and awareness. September is Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month. The Eagle has actually put out a really great article about suicide prevention and awareness, and apparently they'll be doing this once a week. Is that correct? And so please refer to the Eagle. Pick that up, look at that. It's got some really great resources. Some common questions I get when it comes to suicide awareness is, what do I look for? What do I see in my service member? What do I see in my loved one? And the symptoms can really range from just mild depression to anxiety to just cutting off and withdrawing from people, some behavioral changes, some increase in substance abuse like alcohol. If you are concerned, some of the biggest tips are just ask. A lot of people really avoid asking the question, are you thinking about suicide? Are you thinking of killing yourself? Don't be afraid to ask that question. It will not make someone higher risk of committing suicide. So ask the question. I ask it all the time very bluntly, and it's typically really well received. Know your resources. Here at Fort Belvoir, you always have your chaplains that are 100% confidential and will always be there for you. Our adult outpatient behavioral health will offer walk-in services 8 to 3 every weekday. Also, if you are thinking of suicide or you're concerned with someone, get to your local emergency department. They will know how to get you in touch with local resources. There is the National Suicide Hotline. Call, ask questions, get some support, just reach out. Listen to your loved ones, listen to your own feelings. If you're listening to this and you're having some thoughts that are bothering you, reach out. Someone will listen. And I really appreciate you guys' awareness for this and support.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll go ahead and turn it back over to you,
Oh,
sir.
okay. I didn't know if you had something else. You had
No,
a great
that's-
list of things there. So. Okay, good. Thanks, Captain Judy, and I appreciate the suicide awareness. That's certainly an important topic. So I'm joined by some directors today who will be asked to respond to some of your questions, but first I'll do a few announcements. So September, as previously noted, Suicide Prevention Month. It's also National Preparedness Month. If you refer back to the Eagle, so on page 1 is an article on National Preparedness Month, and then page 3 has the suicide prevention article. We will continue to host virtual events and share information and resources throughout the month in the Eagle and on our digital platforms. In next week marks the virtual start of the public school year. So it's important for families to focus on effective communication and stay up to date on your district's resources. I encourage you to reach out to our Garrison School Liaison Officer, Jamie Albers. She's here for military parents and students, whether you live on or off post. The School Liaison Officer plays a critical role here at the Garrison, and she's available as a resource and ready to support. So take a moment, read the article. That article is on page 2 of the Eagle. And that will give you a more detailed description of the services that are offered. We've also shared the link to the Eagle that has all this information in it as well. As many of you already know, through a partnership with Army and MWR and the Exchange, we recently launched the Fort Belvoir Digital Garrison app. I'm happy to announce the latest updates. If you haven't downloaded that, we'll have a link for that as well. The app is now linked to the commissary, and you can order your click-to-go services through the app and also receive announcements. We're in the process of adding workout videos from MWR to help give you tips on how to exercise safely outside of the gym while the fitness facilities on Fort Belvoir are limited and in the local community as well. So I encourage you to download the app, not only take a look at the fitness videos, but all the other information to include Garrison events, facility openings, and services available from the Exchange and the commissary. Next, just a couple of reopening updates for Fort Belvoir. So what's new this week? As of today, the HPCon status is still HPCon Bravo, as we talked about. So new openings include the body shop. We were starting to reach capacity in Graves Fitness Center, so we were able to brief in our future ops board and our recovery review board for approval the opening of an additional fitness center, so that should help to relieve some of the capacity into Graves gym. Both of those gyms, the body shop and the Graves Fitness Center, are still open to active duty and Fort Belvoir first responders. In addition to the gyms, we've still received many questions about the pools. So just a couple of things about the outdoor pools. So we will not open additional outdoor pools, obviously Labor Day kind of being the official end of summer. What we are looking at, though, is when we officially close the North Post pool, weather dependent, mid to late September, through DFMWR, will open for active duty and first responders. For lap swimming, the indoor pool, so the North Post pool. So once we figure that out, again with weather, we'll open that up for fitness and swimming. Religious services have also resumed all in-person services. I think everyone knows that, but it's just a good reminder, especially with all the additional stressors going on just in our world and in our country, really. So registration is required. Those are limited to 50 people. You can visit the RSO Facebook page for links to register for services. And then another reminder, the MWR library is available for curbside checkout. Patrons are available to contact the library and hold materials and then visit the library to pick them up. Visit their website to get information on how to check out and drop off books. I'd like to just talk quickly about the Recovery Review Board. So this is just a reminder for our partners. If you're planning to utilize a Fort Belvoir Garrison MWR venue or any other Garrison operated space, really for that matter, for a gathering event during HPCon Bravo, the Recovery Review Board needs to hear about your mitigation strategies. Submissions for the board should be sent through the Garrison Installation Operations Center, and by doing this, we're really together reducing the risk on Fort Belvoir and putting our community health and safety and readiness at the forefront of everyone's mind. You can find that information in the comments below. For a complete list of what's open, you can visit the Fort Belvoir MWR site and see those facility openings. A couple of other things before we get into the subject matter experts and directors' questions. We have rolled out sort of our housing and mayor program, so that includes two things. That's 15 mayors, and that's across all of the communities, mayors and deputy mayors. And for the residents, the mayors are your sort of primary touch point and liaison with Clark and the villages of Belvoir for any additional problems or assistance you may need. We also have a housing ombudsman hired who works in the command group, and so she is available to assist as well with the mayors and the residents to assist in solving discrepancies or differences that may result in sort of resolving problems for housing. So, our overall goal and mission remains to continue to provide safe and secure housing for all families and residents on Fort Belvoir, and that's sort of the common goal and what we're all working towards. A couple more quick updates, and then we'll get over to some questions from the last town hall. So for the playgrounds, everyone may have noticed maintenance team out preparing the playgrounds for an official reopening over the last several weeks. On many of the playgrounds, this work included adding a fresh layer of mulch, which had been initially delayed due to COVID. And Clark and the villages are expected to start reopening the playgrounds following inspections by a certified playground safety inspector who's been contracted by the villages. Our expectation and what they're working towards is that at least 15 of the playgrounds located throughout the villages have the potential to be open by the end of the month. So that's one we're working towards, and realize that's an important resource, particularly with Fairfax County being virtual for schooling. So we're working towards that. Okay, now just a couple of questions from the last town hall. One question was about the thrift shop, and that was just simply a question about when will that be reopened. Really, it's scheduled to open at HPCon Alpha, and so, based on our current conditions with COVID, that is really to be determined. So not a great answer, but we want to remain transparent, just as we see transparency is really important, and flat communication, just so that everyone understands where we're at, and we try to prevent a bunch of additional questions. So no idea when we're going to get to HPCon Alpha, but that's when the thrift shop is scheduled to reopen. Another question, does the garrison still have a curfew? So the temporary garrison curfew has been changed. It was 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. It is now 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. So that curfew applies to children, obviously, and you can find that policy on the website for the specific ages that curfew applies to. Okay. Anything to add before we go to the SMEs?
No, let's go ahead and.
All right, let's do it. All right, so we're going to cycle around here to a couple of our subject matter experts. We're going to start with our Director of Emergency Services.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Once again, I'm Frank Henschel, your Director of Emergency Services, and I really just have two short questions. The first one is, has traffic been reevaluated to open more gates? And the answer is yes. We count the traffic on a daily basis, and the current numbers do not immediately require a need to open some additional gates. We will, however, continue to monitor this on a regular basis, and I will keep the garrison commander informed as the numbers increase. My next question, do you have to wear a mask while in your car when entering the gates? Answer, it is not a requirement to wear your mask when entering post. The Department of the Army security guard will have his or her mask on and will maintain a safe distance. So, sir, that's all I have. With that, I believe Mr. Kevin Rennick, Director of Human Resources, has a couple questions.
Yep, great.
Okay.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Frank. Good afternoon, sir, ma'am. Good afternoon, all. Kevin Rennick, Director of Human Resources. I have a couple of questions to answer for you this afternoon. First, starting off, when can a soldier take a GT score test at the Education Center? Can they set up an appointment? The Barton Education staff is currently working on a comprehensive plan on providing testing services, again, at Barton Education Center. Once everything is in place and approved, we will inform the community of the actual opening and how to schedule an appointment for testing. Second question. It has been impossible for dependents to get a timely appointment at DEERS. The earliest appointment I was able to get is in November. Will there be another extension on expired military IDs? The Defense Human Resources Activity Senior Leadership is currently reviewing 2 courses of action as it pertains to ID card extensions beyond 30 September 2020. We are anticipating a decision to be made soon. The tentative proposal currently is to extend all ID cards out to 30 June 2021. Again, I reiterate, as soon as a decision is made formally, we will ensure that the community at large is well informed. Subject to any questions, sir? That's all
That's great. Thank you,
At this
Kevin.
time, I'll be
Appreciate it.
followed by the Director of MWR.
Thank you, Kevin. Sir, we have 3 questions tonight for MWR. The first question is, why can't families with 2 or more members play at the tennis courts? Not all families have both parents available at any given time. This would encourage family activity in a safe manner. Thank you for the recommendation. Tennis courts are available for singles play if the players are not in the same household. However, families are able to play doubles as long as they are all residing in the same household. Second question, why is there a lock on the basketball court for closure but not for the skate park or tennis courts? Basketball requires closer contact than activities at the skate park or tennis. Just think of 5-on-5 basketball players playing each other, sweating, and in close contact for 20 to 30 minutes at a time. Last question. When can retirees use the gyms? Answer, at this time, only active duty and first responders can use the fitness facilities due to the limited capacity. The sports and fitness team will continue to analyze usage and make recommendations to the Fort Belvoir Recovery Review Panel Board on the next steps for the fitness facilities. Currently, the team is looking at opportunities to allow active duty family members utilization of the fitness facilities as the next step in the reopening process. Sir, subject to your questions, that's all I have.
No, thank you, George. Appreciate it. And thanks to all the SMEs for answering those questions. I know that there's just going to continue to be a lot of questions out there. It's difficult, and there are certainly friction points that we have that are going to come up as we continue to work through HPCOM Bravo, the school year reopening, and then obviously any other events that may come up. So I appreciate that. I think we've got time for some questions, don't we, that may have come up? Great.
Yes, sir. Can a reservist be included into the gym for access?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm going to defer to George on that, just so we get it right.
Sir, the answer is yes, because they have an ID card and they can swipe it, and they'll be counted in the fitness center. Over.
Okay. Yeah, good. Thank you. All right. Yeah, we'll do one more.
Captain Judy, how can I pre-activate my prescription for the pharmacy?
So that's a great question. As you know, we recently closed the activation portion in the garage. And what we've done is we've taken those staff members that were doing that in the garage and we've relocated them to different areas throughout the hospital. So if you're at the hospital and you've had an appointment, you'll find those same people strategically located in the passageways in the hospital to help you activate that prescription. The other thing that you can do is you can use the online form for activation, or you can call 571-231-3224. Again, that's 571-231-3224, and it's option 2, option 2.
Good. Well, that was easy. Okay. We got one more? Or are we out of time? We're good. Okay. Great. I appreciate everyone that continues to participate in these forums, not only virtually, but those that are coming up every day or once a month to execute these. It's helpful. I think it's a good platform to put out information. And with that, I think, do you have any other closing remarks?
No, sir. The only thing I would do is give a reminder to folks out there who still haven't completed their OPSEC training. I know there's a huge push throughout all of the services to get that done, and so please make sure you get your OPSEC training done before the deadline.
Yeah, good reminder. There's the end of year, there's always a bunch of mandatory trainings that have to get done.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, absolutely got to do that. Okay, well, I think that's a wrap for today. Continue to stay up to date with reopening Belvoir by downloading the Garrison app or going to the Fort Belvoir website at home.army.mil/Belvoir and following Fort Belvoir on Facebook and Twitter. As we go into Labor Day weekend, each member of the Fort Belvoir family has a responsibility to remain vigilant and safe when operating and traveling during the current COVID environment. So, just remember that the threat of the coronavirus remains high, so adhere to the current protective measures, avoid large gatherings, use social distancing, help prevent accidents through responsible behavior, and lead by example. So until next time, remember, we're all in this together, and we'll get through it together. So do your part and make sure that you social distance, wear a mask, and practice good hygiene. Thanks again, everyone, for participating in today's virtual town hall.